question.
Oh, it's Splinter.
Oh, it stings. All right. Hey, welcome to Sasquatch Off-Road. We're doing things a little different tonight. Obviously, we're not in the mountains and we're not hiking around. We've had record snowfalls here in Utah. There's probably, in some places, close to 15 feet of snow in the mountains, and we haven't even barely started melting. But we're gonna do a little question and answer and be a little back and forth. This is a good friend of mine, Corey Moon. We both served together in the Army for a very long time.
2005 is when we first met?
Yep, 2005. And we were both little scrawny kids back then, and he's still a little scrawny, and I'm not. But he's a non-believer, but he's very intelligent on certain things. I always ask him, like, let's make believe you think Bigfoot exists. What do you think about this scenario or this? And he gives a good, different perspective instead of other people that are 100% believers. And I know we've all seen a stump out there and thought it was Bigfoot, and so I like to ask him questions and show him things and see what he thinks. So you want to give a little background on actually where you're from and kind of...
Corey Moon. I'm from Montana, so you probably have some sightings up in that area, I assume. Then I moved down to Utah 2006 after I met him in the Army, and we did our stint over in Iraq there. And then just been living here, enjoying life. Still doing the Army and still friends with him.
That's the bad part.
That's the best part. The Army gives you friends.
Oh yeah, it's one of the best things that I've had come out of it.
Agreed.
But yeah, so one of the questions I've asked you in the past, and this is a big, actually one on one of my Bigfoot Facebook groups, and asked people what are some of the biggest controversies that are over the subject. And one of the biggest ones that always comes up, government cover-up. So I know we've talked about it before. After I've talked to you, I kind of believe more that there could be a government cover-up. And I don't know if you remember what you said then. I mean, that was a couple of years ago. Kind of along the lines that our government kind of fills other intelligent beings. So that could be one reason.
Yeah, something along the lines of, we're the top of the food chain. If there was, like, it was more of a theory crafting of, okay, he exists or whatnot, that we would, what would the government be covering up? And I said, yeah, I mean, something that walks around, what do they call it, bipedal?
Yeah.
Being able to move like a human, do human actions, opposable thumbs, all of the above. That could be something that they could really look at trying to cover up. But that was, I think my answer was, if he existed.
Yeah. And, there's like during the Mount St. Helens volcano explosion, there was, and then this is one of the stories I heard of the National Guard, like, escorting one around to get help to other ones that he knew were in the area that were burned. And I mean, because I've had two sightings, but I also believe that your mind is a very powerful thing, and it's something that I've been interested in for a very long time. So who's to say that my mind didn't play tricks on me or what? But it's also one of those things that I hear stories all the time that's like, it makes it hard to believe. And I understand, like, okay, hearing stories like that, I would understand why people don't believe in something like that.
Right.
And, could be a big cover-up, but it's also like, I've heard one theory is, it's a government cover-up because it would ruin the national park industry and the logging industry. But one of in the area that America's biggest logging industry is where the most sightings are, Oregon and Washington.
Right. Got more people out there.
Yeah.
I mean, grizzly bears and black bears are just as, you go to Yellowstone and every tourist wants to see a buffalo, so I can kind of see where that could be a thought if they're there more more people coming around and whatnot. But.
Well, and the thought behind the ruining the industry, the tourist industry, is that if people know that these things are actually exist and are in the mountains and in the wilderness, is that they're not going to want to go anymore because they're dangerous or anything.
Grizzlies are crazy, man.
That's my answer. Every time someone says that, there's grizzly bears.
I mean, I'm up in the plains there, and I get sightings around my hometown. That's many miles from the Rocky Mountains. I mean, grain, wheat fields and barley, and there's grizzlies out there running.
That's crazy.
And you're like, why are they down here? I mean, they're just all over the place. So.
And then, so kind of on that ish, well, why, if he exists, why do you think there has been no skeletal remains been found?
If he exists, so then you got to go off the whole, you get, I don't know, I don't know the numbers, but let's say 100 sightings every few years, or one every, I don't know what it is, but the small amount of sightings make me think that they're not out and about, and you're not getting those pictures, and you're not getting their bedding sites or whatever. It's like the mountain lions along the Wasatch Front.
Oh yeah.
Every now and then, someone's Ring camera catches one. They're like, "Oh, we've heard of that mountain lion up there, and it's the first time we've seen it in 10 months." So, kind of along those same lines, if we're not seeing mountain lions and something that, they're still kind of elusive as well, then you're going to have the same problem with finding them, and they're probably going to be tucked away somewhere.
Yeah, and it's one of those. So I'm a believer 100%, but it's also one of those things that goes through my mind a lot. Like, why haven't we found one? And you get stories all the time that they've been turned into the Smithsonian, and then the Smithsonian's lost them, or they're like, we never had anything like that. But it's also like the forest is one of the best decomposers.
Yeah.
Animals. A carcass can be gone. A carcass can be picked apart to bones in week and a half, and if the conditions are right, those bones can deteriorate within a couple months.
Sure.
So if they're deep in there and where nobody gets, they can be gone. Or another theory that people have is that they bury their dead. They have like specific grave sites and stuff like that. But and as of right now, everybody's theories are right now, it's just theories because we don't know for sure.
Yeah, going along that lines where you're saying that, well, then you're thinking they're more of an intelligent being, so they have a tool to dig with. When I'll compare if there's a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch to a bear, and bears are just primal animals, just out there to eat and sleep. So.
Yeah, and I think. They're very intelligent because they know to stay away from us. They, on a lot of the sightings, they are just actually. I don't think they're as aggressive as people say they are. I think they're territorial, and when they do charge or whatever, they show restraint. Like, they scare you, they know that they scare you, and you leave and back away, and they leave you alone, or they herd you out of the area. And that's a lot of the stories, we get, and I've been in the mountains quite a bit, and I've had a couple instances where I thought I have heard wood knocks around me, but who knows if it's just a tree, wind blowing, or whatever.
Was this during a going out looking, or are you just?
I was deer hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your senses are heightened.
Yeah.
You're listening for everything, anyways.
Yeah.
So you're looking at, the trees are rustling. Was that something going through the brush, or was it just the wind?
Yeah.
So
and especially, and I've noticed it. Like I said, now that you bring that up, thinking about it, out doing convoys, we ran convoy security. Your senses are heightened, so it's like. Oh, was that an IED? Was that? But it was a rock. It was something. But you're on guard, so you're finding stuff that isn't there, but you're looking for it.
Yeah, I remember doing guard duty in Altacadum at TQ, and it was 12-hour shift, and you have no idea how many times I saw things that weren't there because you're really looking.
Mm-hmm.
That's just your heightened senses, really.
Yeah, and that's I try not to, if when I am out recording or whatever, I try not to be like, oh, did you hear that? I just want to be quiet, and then I'll go back and look at the footage later. I mean, because I think that's the best bet if you're going to do something. Because if you get all excited and start, you're going to spook it away because when it knows that you heard it, and then it's going to be like, okay, peace out.
Sure.
And then
kind of with the sound as I think about it, right? So you're saying Bigfoot, or what do you go by?
The Bigfoot or Sasquatch. Yeah. I call it Sasquatch more now than I've had Bigfoot.
So here's a thought, as you always ask my opinion. We've done training in the Army where we sit on the side of the trail and we ambush someone, right?
Yeah.
You can hear human feet walking, right? So
Yeah.
if a Bigfoot is this big, I don't know how you take that big of a matter and not make it sound now through the forest, right? We got combat boots, kind of kid. Everyone gets around a 12 size foot by the time you put a combat boot. You hear people walking. Now I get it. Maybe they're out in the forest and that's where they live and they know how to be quiet, but that's hard, in my opinion, to be quiet with that much weight and surface area touching the ground.
Definitely.
Stop.
And then on that thought, I met a guy that worked.
Was he nice?
Yeah. He worked DNR or worked in that aspect something in wildlife. And this is his story that I got from him. I don't know how true it is or if it's even possible, but he said he would go out, take his boots off, and put on thick wool socks over his already socks. And it would make him stealthy enough that he can get within 20 feet of a herd of elk without them knowing. And, he obviously have to cover his scent too. So, and I don't.
Well, that makes sense because you're taking away the hard rubber.
Yeah.
And you're getting some flexibility and some almost another layer of skin.
Yeah. So
have you tried it or?
I haven't tried it. I'm gonna try it now.
Out of curiosity.
Yeah. But it's also like, who knows if because an elephant's foot's padded, but I don't know if they make that much noise.
I don't know. I've never been to Africa.
Yeah, I mean.
Or India.
I've been to a zoo, but
they don't move much.
No, they don't.
They're just like, why am I here?
Yeah. So I mean, and I'm gonna have to try that sock thing out now.
Don't borrow your wife's socks; she'll be mad. Go buy some cheap stuff at
buy some
Walmart.
new ones. And this is something that's bugged me. Like I hear stories all the time. So you hear stories from like 50s, 60s, 70s of hunters, trackers, guide outfitters, forest rangers that have been approached by a government entity, and like, hey, we're gonna contract you out to go hunt these things down, and they're shooting them with a 30-06 or something similar and dropping them one shot.
Okay.
And then newer stories, I'd say within the past 10 years that I've been hearing stories more and more, that you've got these guys that are coming out and saying that they have unloaded an entire 30-round mag into them, and it didn't faze them. And I've thought about it, like when I wrote it down, I thought about it the other day. I was like, well, I mean, like adrenaline sweat, that could do it.
Sure.
But then, why didn't it happen when they shot him with a 30 cal? Why do you think?
You think a caliber has to do with it? Do you think it's the story that goes behind it, or you were gonna go ahead?
I think that that was what I was.
So here's my thought: is they always tell you a certain caliber in your pistol you should carry for bears, right? Because a bear's skull is super thick.
Yeah.
And they're going to be coming at you with that bad boy, and they said just unload and give her the onion, as we say. I think what they say, 10 millimeter is always good. Full metal jacket so it penetrates. Bears are scary. I don't know what a Sasquatch's skull would be as I look at your statue in the front of your house, from artist renditions. Just looks like there's a lot more forehead, more of a 5 head, and I don't know what that'd be, right? Like a bear's skull is strong like that for for the sake of crushing bones.
Yeah.
And maybe for combat, maybe they do it during breeding or whatever. I don't know. But as I look at a Sasquatch, even if they eat meat, I don't think that that's their main attacking weapon. I think it'd be almost like Chewbacca. They're going to use their strength. They're going to use their, like I said, they got thumbs. So they're
be more of like a hand-to-hand combat situation.
I don't know if they've obviously not found skulls or whatnot. Yeah. So we don't know if they have a canine that's really made for killing, like a bear or a bobcat or anything, or if it's more like us where we have canines. But in a street fight, I'm not going for the jugular. I'm going to use my fist or whatever. So shooting them, their chest is going to be more like ours, just better shape and better equipped. But I look at it as just a very strong human. And I'm just thinking of the bear as it charges towards you, like they can just take the brunt of it,
Yeah, because you're not, as they're facing, you're not really, the only thing that you got that's vital really is their head. And so you need something to penetrate.
But I mean, I've watched hunting videos. My cousins up in Montana have taken many black bears, one shot, done.
Yeah.
With a bow and arrow, done. Like with a 30-06, just one shot, done. But as a hunter, we go to gather it, and we want the one-shot kill for the sake of the animal and whatnot. So
the quick and easy.
But we know that when a bear rushes you, you're just unloading everything you have, and you could be all sorts of everywhere. And so when they say I unloaded 30, well, how many did you hit them with? One or two, That
was a thought.
But if you're hunting, it's more of a stalking game. It's more of a putting sight on the vitals and taking a shot. So your 70s story would hold if they're hunting, but our 90 to 2000 story of they bum rushed me while I was taking a piss and I grabbed my rifle or I grabbed my pistol also holds in the sake of...
That makes sense.
That's a thought.
And so, we don't have too much training into engaging. I mean, we have some into engaging targets like that. So it's like
you're quick. Remember, coming up. 1, 2, down. 1, 2. Down.
And most people don't have that. So I would now thinking about it, I never thought of it in that aspect. They're probably pulling them most right in the dirt before they even get up to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. So the next one I have is, why do you think we can't get good pictures? You think he's just a blurry animal running out?
This is my. I enjoy this one. Every hunter and their brother has a trail cam.
Yeah.
Your house has Ring cameras. I have Ring cameras. My God, if the war in Ukraine right now is being filmed 24/7, so there's cameras everywhere. But if there's that many trail cams out there, and you can probably go on, Cabela's.com and see how many they've sold. How are we not seeing a picture? Right now, I said those bobcats are elusive up here, but they're being caught on cameras.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, there it was. And for that many hunters, because I haven't hunted here much, but I know there's a lot of trails up there, some public land, some private, and there's cameras up out there. And I feel like that would be, if the animal's intelligent enough, well, I'd say that we're more intelligent, and those cameras are the size of my hand or smaller and camouflaged, and you put them up, and I don't know if our scent would really stop them. I don't think they're that keen on it, because if it's a trail that humans always go on, they just know, like, okay,
the scent is there.
They're like, okay, I do know humans would be here, but hunters don't really, they'll put it on trails, but they'll put it on speed points or over a draw or just an open view to just see stuff, And so that's why I feel that it's not out there, because there's so many cameras,
That's a good point. And I've thought about that aspect also. And it's like you said, it's not as intelligent as us. When I hunt, I average between 5 to 10 miles a day hiking when I hunt. And I've never seen a game camera anywhere.
Yeah?
Yeah. So intelligence. No. But I've never actually been out looking for them. I'm not looking for that. So that could be why. I'm looking for animals. I'm looking for other things. A big theory out there amongst the Bigfoot world is they can see the IR from the camera.
Okay. What other animals can see IR?
I don't know.
Like that's just a question.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know, but when I heard that, I used to have. You remember my dog Bella? She would let us put glasses and hats on her head, and then when you'd pull out your camera, you pull out your phone, she'd be fine. But as soon as you activated that camera, she'd look away. And it was interesting, and I never thought about it till then. But one of my last drill weekends before I retired, we were doing a CIF inspection. So we had the IRs out, and so I put it on, and I had I think Swenson open his camera, and I could see the IR through the camera. But that was through an IR infrared scope, you know.
Right.
So I don't know, no, and it's a big theory, but I hear people also say, oh, you know, you just put up a camera in their living room, they're gonna know it's there. They could, but they also like. My thought is they know where people are. They know where people are going. They're watching. They got sentries, and I don't know how many sentries they are. I don't know what the population is. So they could have one watching you over here, then 5 miles away, there's another guy putting one up, and there's not one watching it. But they could know, you know, okay, this is where they got this, and you know, I'm sure you've heard of the tree breaks or whatever, where they break like 2-inch trees 7 feet up, and they break them over and they just let them lean. Or they do the X's. I don't know if you've heard that before.
Who does?
Like the Bigfoot.
Sasquatch. I have.
So they'll they're
that's
their
marking of sorts.
Yeah,
okay.
A marker. Any of you walk
because they're that tall and that's where they can reach type deal, but we can't reach.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you seen like the where the trees are like blown over and they're kind of crossed or stacked?
Yeah.
However, I'm in agreement with you on that. There's sometimes that I study them sometimes to see, like, is this weather, or like I first think of it, weather did that, and then I look at it, is there a way that Bigfoot, Sasquatch could have done this? Mm-hmm. But if there's any doubt in my mind that it's weather, it was weather. I'm not going to put it that it was Bigfoot at all.
That's interesting, though. I mean, you're telling me a lot. I don't follow it. My conversations about Sasquatch is when we're at drill or we're at AT and sitting there doing nothing for hours, hurry up and wait mentality, and then he throws up a question. So that's interesting.
And then my ADD kicks in. Hey guys. And my last question is, I guess you just did your personal thoughts on it.
Well, so kind of with the camera and stuff, and I look at, so you're focused on Sasquatch, right? But if we go to Mexico, they got the Chupacabra. Mm-hmm. We go to over in Ireland, if I get it wrong, but they have the Loch Ness. I think there's a couple other, like, every area kind of has its Sasquatch.
Cryptid. I think that's what, like, the umbrella term for them all is a cryptid.
Oh, okay.
I think of that encompasses all of them.
Yeah. So I think of that. I think every country has there's something out there, and what it is, we're not 100% sure.
I just found out that Norway's is trolls. Like, they're big on, like,
real trolls.
Yeah, and I didn't know that. That's something new.
And pixies. Someone has pixies somewhere.
I remember hearing something.
I think Tim actually was telling me that.
Yeah.
Because he's Irish. So there's something. But I might not. I might be right. I might be wrong. But every country kind of has its own little. We'll call it their Sasquatch. Or their, and they have the same U's and the same me's. So my thought is it's just an area that has it. I don't think it's a bad thing. Sometimes it can be a bad thing because people take it too long or too far and people get hurt or whatever. But for the most part, it's harmless. I've never thought, oh well, because if there's a big fella out there, man, he's gonna tear me up. I just think of Chewbacca. I'm a Star Wars fan. I'm like, gonna tear up my arms or just gonna find me with some legs. It is what it is. But or they'll think it's a bear or whatnot.
There's this post. Now that you said that, I'm thinking about it. There's this guy. He says, my daughter comes up to me. He's like, Dad, I have a question. Like, what? He's like, what if Bigfoot is just Chewbacca that got lost He goes, I'm listening.
You had me at Star Wars. Yeah. So my opinion is like, I don't believe they're out there. There's too many people in the world. There's too much technology. I mean, yeah, granted, it took us some years to find Osama bin Laden, the guy that was super hiding, but we found him. You know, same with Saddam. We found him hiding in that hidey hole after time. Though we had a lot more resources than the Sasquatch community.
That, yeah.
You know, but with drones nowadays, with your trail cameras, and you know, with a Bronco, you can get somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think you can get to where they are, because if there's some along the Wasatch, there's really nowhere that we can't get. But it's your group's resources that probably hinder you to go farther into it. But
yeah,
I'm happy to go with you one of these times. But
I'm down.
I'll partake, but I don't camp. I don't do tents. We know this.
Well,
tents are my arch nemesis.
I tended once last year after not for a long time, and I'm like, never again.
Something about living those for too many years.
Yeah.
In a foreign country. Yep. So
that's why I like sticking to the mountains, because the deserts are not cool. I don't like them.
No, sir, don't like it.
But I appreciate you coming out and talking, and thank you guys for watching, and you know, stay tuned, and we'll have more stuff coming. Thanks.
Thank you.